Okay, what's going on, guys? I've wanted to do this particular presentation for a very long time because I know it's going to be incredibly useful and I know it's going to help you make more money as a trader. So stick with me. I'm going to be sharing some key insights on human behavior, on your own psychology, your own mind, which are directly applicable to your trading. And if you follow through with what I'm going to share at the end, I guarantee there will be a shift in your trading. There will be a shift in the way you view your trading, and ultimately the way you perform as a trader is going to change. So let's get into it. Now, there's this very cute idea in a great movie, one of my favorite movies, by the way, called Limitless, where Eddie Mora, the main character, takes a pill, takes NZT-48 and whatever it is, NZT, takes the pill, and he has an immense amount of brain function. He just becomes super genius. And he levels up crazily. Now, this whole idea, this whole movie really inspired me to go down the whole nootropic path and experiment with different, nootropics or different drugs to help get me in an optimal state. The conclusion I came to from doing this myself and going through the rabbit hole of the nootropic and biohacking world, whatever it may be, is that your true potential as a human being is definitely not going to be found in a pill. And what I learned through my studies in human behavior and psychology, and just the understanding of the brain itself, is being able to tap into that and being able to understand yourself on a deeper level is what's going to help you reach your true potential. It's not some external pill that's going to help you do that. Everything you need is internal. Everything you need is already in your head. Your brain's just the most powerful technology you have. It's about understanding it on a deeper level. It's about tapping into the untapped potential of your mind. And this presentation is going to help you do that. I'm going to share some things with you that will help you access greater levels of your brain, higher functions in your brain, and not have to take a pill doing it. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, the most powerful technology available is the human brain. We've had some of the most brilliant minds on the face of the earth try and replicate a cell, and they haven't been able to do it. The body, the intelligence of the body is just ridiculous. It is such a high functioning and such a powerful technology that even the greatest minds on this planet, if you were to put all of them in one room, they wouldn't be able to replicate the cell. Not yet, at least. And the brain is made up of 86 billion cells. So the brain itself is brilliant. It's the most powerful technology we currently have, but most people don't understand how to use it properly. And most people don't take care of it. Most people don't eat wisely. Most people don't get enough sleep. Most people don't stick to priority. Most people don't do the things we're going to share in this presentation. And no wonder people aren't highly functioning individuals, because they don't understand and they don't take full advantage of the opportunity they have with the human brain. Now, many traders don't understand themselves, their inner wiring. They don't understand their brain and how it's wired and how you can tap into your full potential. And as a result, they don't ever reach their full potential. And my hope is this presentation is going to open your eyes to some cool things and help you start to tap into your full potential. Now, a lot of what I'm going to share in this presentation is inspired by Dr. DeMartini's work on values, on human values. I think it's a brilliant piece of work that he's done, and ultimately I try and pass on that type of stuff to my traders in my 12-week challenge, in my education, performance coaching business, because I know it's really groundbreaking stuff. It's had a huge impact in my life, and it's had a huge impact in my clients' lives. And it's really cool to see the switch and the results when individuals start implementing what I'm going to share with you in parts of in this presentation and what I share in detail in the 12-week challenge. So let's get into it. Now, gaining an unfair advantage in the markets, that's all this presentation is about knowing yourself on a deep level. It's about understanding your inner wiring and strategically putting yourself in a position to win. Once you understand how you're wired, you can then position yourself in a way to make sure you win. And that's what this presentation is about. It's about giving you an understanding of how you're wired and giving you some ideas and ways to reposition yourself to ensure you have an unfair advantage in the markets because the market's competitive. It's extremely competitive. So I want to make sure that my guys and girls that are watching this, they have an edge and they understand themselves, because at the end of the day, your edge is you. And I think if you really grasp that and you realize that, you know, I love what Naval Ravikant says. He says, escape competition through authenticity. The way you win is by being authentic. The way you win is by being you, because no individual is going to be able to win trying to envy and imitate other people. You're only going to be able to have your edge if you're being authentic to who you are. This presentation's about that. Okay, now every human being has a unique set of priorities in their life. We can call these priorities, we can call these values, whatever. An individual has a list of things that they value, a set of priorities, most important to least important, most valuable to least valuable. And it's not difficult to see what it is for individuals. You just look at what their life demonstrates. For example, if you look at Michael Jordan, that is an individual who had an incredibly high, when he was in his peak of his career, had an incredibly high value on being an extremely good basketball player. His life demonstrated that. He had results in that, and that's all he ever did. He just played basketball. So too, if you look at other individuals that are doing incredibly well, you look in a little bit more of a different example. Look at someone like Drake, for example, or look at some of these rappers like J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. They have a very high value on being great rappers or musicians or whatever. And it's very obvious because their life demonstrates that, right? And you know that's incredibly important to them, because if it wasn't, they would never reach that state. Now, you look at a mother, for example, and she may have a very high value on her kids, and that's what's most important to her. You look at another individual, a businessman or a business lady, they may have an extremely high value on their business. You look at another individual, they may have an extremely high value on learning and education. No value system is right or wrong, but each individual has a unique set of priorities and a unique set of values that their life demonstrates. It's what they spontaneously do. It's what they love to do. Now, these unique priorities are directly related to what that individual perceived as missing in their life. The voids in our life become things of value to us. So an individual, for example, if I look at my life, all I really do with my life is I love to learn. I love to study human behavior, psychology. I love to study on the financial markets. I love to expand myself physically by training and eating well, those types of things. And I love to do my work. I love to work on growing the education, performance coaching business, and also my trading. So my life demonstrates that those things are important to me. If I look through my life, I can see the voids driving those values. I can see where I was, bullied for not being smart enough, or not being good looking enough, or not having enough money. And I can see and pinpoint those very voids that are driving the values on what I do to this day, and continue to do. So it's our voids that drive our values in life, and our values are fingerprint specific. Now, every individual has unique experiences through life, and what's more, they have unique perceptions of those experiences. So no two individuals have the same voids, no two individuals have the same values. They're all fingerprint specific. So it's about understanding what it is for you. What is it that your life demonstrates as most important to you? And having a look, what is it you perceive as most missing in your life right now, or even in childhood, and seeing the voids that are driving the value in your life. That's a very profound realization, understanding to have about yourself, because your brain is literally designed to pursue these voids/values. Your brain is constantly seeking out information, people, places, ideas, to be able to fulfill the voids of the past and pursue values, what's most valuable to you. So this is how your brain is literally set up. It's a highest value seeking organ, as DeMartini likes to say, and it's constantly trying to filter out in its environment and pursue opportunities in alignment with what's most valuable to you. So if we're not congruent and we don't have in our conscious awareness and understanding of what is most important to us, what our true values and priorities are driven by these voids, and we don't know what that is, we're going to attempt to go through life usually subordinating to other people's and trying to live up to other people's values, trying to do what is important to other people, but we're going away from how we're literally wired to excel in our life. We're going away from how our brain's wired to perform, and there's an incongruence there, there's frustration there, there's challenge. But if you are clearly aware of what are your values, what are the voids driving that value, and you can structure your life around that, and anything that seemingly isn't linked to that, you can link it because you have the tools to do that, then you start to get congruent with how your brain's actually wired to excel. And you start to access higher functions in your brain because you have your brain working for you, not against you, so to speak. You're congruent, you're building momentum, you're on fire. Okay, so just a quick recap. Every individual has a unique set of values driven by voids, perceived voids, what they perceive as most missing. Your brain is a highest value-seeking organ. So your brain is wired, set up to pursue what is of value to you. It already knows that. Now, if you're consciously pursuing what is of value to you, your list of priorities, you're going to be congruent with how your brain's set up to act. If you're not aware of what your values are, and you're trying to live according to other people's values, you're going to have a lot of frustration. You're going to be going in circles. You're going to be going against how you're biologically made up to act as a human being. There's going to be a lot of frustration there. There's going to be a lot of tension and pushing weight uphill, so to speak. So this presentation is about getting you congruent. It's about giving you that understanding, and it's about tying this into your trading so you can access those higher functions in your brain, and they can be on when you're trading. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, studies have shown that when you're congruent, the brain actually is rewarded. Blood glucose and oxygen goes to the more advanced, higher functions of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. So there's literally a movement of resources to the higher functions when you're congruent, because your brain is now in a state of thrival. It's transcended those survival needs. It's on priority. It's on purpose. And your brain actually transforms resources and awakens and activates the higher functions in your mind. The higher functions, the prefrontal cortex, is exactly what needs to be activated if you want to be making successful decisions as a trader. And what's more, if you're not congruent, then your brain thinks it's in survival and it allocates its resources to the limbic system, the amygdala, for example, and that's where the fight and flight, the emotional survival chimp responses come up. So depending on whether we're congruent or not, the brain actually reallocates resources very strategically to either awaken higher functions, the prefrontal cortex, or to awaken the survival functions, the amygdala. So as a trader, we need the prefrontal cortex activated, so we're making strategic decisions, we're thinking decisions through, and we're planning with foresight. So being congruent is essential as a trader. And if we're not congruent, then we're going to have those emotional, irrational decisions heightened, and we're going to lead to a lot more emotional, irrational decision making, outcome-based decision making. Okay, so a lot of this outcome-based and process-based decision making that I talk about in a lot of my other videos is actually dependent on whether you're congruent or not. If you don't perceive yourself congruent, your amygdala is going to be heightened. Blood glucose and oxygen is going to go into the amygdala. You're going to be making more outcome-based decisions. You're going to be more in the gambling mentality, you're going to be more emotional. So traders who aren't congruent, right, with what's most valuable to them, or they don't see trading directly linked to that, then they're going to be activating the amygdala when they're trading. They're going to be more in the gambling mentality. So a lot of that stuff is a symptom of not having trading linked to what is of value to you. Now, on the other side of that, and this, by the way, is very consistent with the traders that I see excel as traders, is that they have trading directly linked to what is of value to them, or trading is truly a high value to them. And there's only a few people I've seen that have trading truly as a means to an end. Usually it's an end in mind, and it's wiser to do linking to what is your highest value. But when you do that, you make more process-based decisions, you're more strategic, you're less emotional, and you build momentum, you build consistent results. So this work is incredibly useful as a trader, and being able to gain an unfair advantage as a trader is about being congruent. It's being authentic, linking trading to what is authentic to you, accessing the higher functions in your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and letting the most powerful technology on earth do what it's meant to do. Make extremely strategic, wise decisions according to a plan. The reason I think a lot of people go for external things, external supplements and drugs and all that type of stuff. And by the way, I think the drugs have their place. I'm not saying they're terrible, they're bad. I mean, I've got a coffee right here. So we all use these things strategically, but what I'm trying to show you here is that these things aren't necessarily the first thing you want to be reaching for. You want to get yourself congruent. You want to ensure that you've got that unfair advantage because you're congruent, you're authentic in the market. You see it linked to what's of value to you, which we're going to talk about more. You have those higher functions activated, and then you'll realize that you don't need a lot of these things. A lot of the need for the external motivation or the external kick withers away because you have, and you're congruent, you're on fire, you're inspired by what you do. Okay, a little bit of a tangent, but let's move on. Highly functioning individuals, in my observation, are simply just more congruent. Michael Jordan was so good because he had such a high value on basketball, a higher value than anybody else. Therefore, he was willing to work harder than anybody else and achieve what he did because of such a high value. Now, just because you have a high value on something doesn't mean you're going to achieve it. It's about you have a high value on it, so you dedicate your life to working on it, refining it, being a master in your particular craft. You still have to work at it, but it's because he had such a high value on it, higher than anything else, that he dedicated time and energy to it. And it's because he had a higher value on it than anybody else, he was willing to work harder than anybody else and accomplish, obviously, what he did. Amazing feats in sport, okay? So it's those who are congruent that end up building momentum and accomplishing amazing things. It's no different as traders. I've seen those traders who are congruent, they start to build momentum and they build it quick. And it's just amazing watching them because they go on fire and they become incredible at what they do. Now, the benefits of being congruent. You're going to activate those higher brain functions, the prefrontal cortex, and as a result, you're going to have more strategic thinking, you're going to have more rational decision making, you're going to think before you act, you're going to have a plan there, you're going to execute on the plan, right? You're going to be strategic. You're going to be more strategic in your planning, and you're going to be more strategic in your thinking and your decision making. You're going to be looking at your trading plan, you're going to be making decisions according to your trading plan. A lot of FOMO, a lot of revenge trading, a lot of emotional losses or related wins, these things just wither away when you activate higher functions in the brain. You're less impulsive, less emotional. You're literally a better trader because you have a higher function of the brain activated and you're making better process-based decisions. This is how you get an unfair advantage in the markets, by being congruent, linking trading to that so you can activate the higher functions of the prefrontal cortex. Okay, now how do we do this, right? How do we go off and do this? Now I'm going to give you an overview of what you want to be looking at. You want to have a look at what your life demonstrates as most important to you, what you spontaneously love to do, what you're inspired to do. That shows you what's most important to you. Your life demonstrates what's most important to you. Because if something was truly important to you, you'd do it. A lot of people say things are important to them, but their life doesn't demonstrate they're doing it. Their life doesn't demonstrate that they're actually going off and doing those things. Therefore, whatever they're doing instead is actually more important because they're actually dedicating time and energy to doing those things. So you have to differentiate between what your life demonstrates and the fantasies of what you wish they were. And you just want to honestly look at your life. What does my life demonstrate as most important to me? If I look at my life, all I work on is I work on my business, I work on developing my mind and developing my body and expanding those areas of my life because that's what's most important to me. Okay, so you want to have a look at your life. What does it demonstrate as most important to you? You also want to have a look at what is it you perceive as most missing now, and even earlier on in your life, especially back to childhood, what is it you perceive as most missing there? And have a look, what is it you perceive as most missing then and now? And that will give you a really key indication to what your values are, what you value right now, because your voids drive values. And we have values to go off and pursue to fulfill the voids that were created, okay? So being able to have a look at what your life demonstrates and have a look at the voids and seeing the connections there, making sure they're congruent to see that, all right, I perceive that was most missing. This is what my life demonstrates as most important. And there'll be a link there. If you get it right, if you honestly look, they'll line up perfectly. Your voids become your values. So have a look at what your life demonstrates as most important to you. Have a look at what is it you perceive as most missing. Now, it may not be trading. And in fact, for most people, it probably won't actually be trading that is what is the true high value. It's most likely going to be something else. Okay, so let's do this. You have a look at your life. What does it demonstrate is most important? You see the voids driving those values. You see, all right, that is what is of true value to me right now. It's what my life demonstrates. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, that's your family. It's about raising a great family, right? Now, you know that you want to become a great trader because you think that that's going to help you in your life financially, and that's going to be of value to your life. Now, you have an incongruence here. You're pursuing trading, but your life demonstrates raising your family is most important to you. Okay, so there's an incongruence there. Whenever you're trading, you're going to be taken away in your mind from what is most important to you. And when you go into your trading, you're going to go into those lower functions in the brain, the amygdala, etc., etc. So it's now important to link these areas. The value to you is your family, but you can link trading by asking, how is trading serving and benefiting what is most valuable to me, my family? And vice versa, how is it when I'm working with my family, how does it actually benefit my trading? And you can go in there and make links and connections between the two by asking yourself, how is this a benefit and service to me? How does my trading benefit my top value? How does my trading benefit my family? How does my building my family benefit my trading? And the moment you make that link in your mind, trading now isn't something separate to your highest value, but you know every time you go off and trade, that's actually helping your highest value. And whenever you're going off and doing your highest value, that's helping your trading. You see it in your mind. And it's that perception shift and it's that association that you create that actually allows your brain to see them as benefiting each other. So whenever you go off and work on your trading, your brain's going to allocate resources to the prefrontal cortex. And let's say, for example, you have a high value life demonstrates your highest value right now is your health and fitness. Go and link your trading. How does that benefit and serve my highest value of health and fitness? Okay. Let's say right now your highest value life demonstrates your highest value is studying, going through university, maybe even going through high school. You want to go and link, how is trading helping me become a great student, a great university student, right? Make that connection clear in your mind. And no matter what is of value to you, link your trading to that if you love to pursue your trading. And I'm assuming you do because you're watching these videos. And make that link clear in your mind so that whenever you go off and trade, your brain is working with you, not against you. And it's working for you because it sees it linked to your highest value. And you want to keep making these links until it's clear in your mind that trading is helping, not hindering your highest value. And it's on the way, not in the way. And make that link super clear. And I assure you, your trading will flip for the better. You'll be more inspired. You'll have the higher functions activated when you're actually trading, which will result in better decision-making, less emotional volatilities. So it's about making that link clear. Now, I hope that makes sense. We cover the full process and how I actually advise my students to go through and accomplish this transformation in the 12-week challenge. It's literally the first thing we do because I think it's the most important foundational work to do as a trader. So if you found this presentation inspiring, please check out the 12-week challenge. I guarantee that will be insightful, extremely useful. The link's in the description below and jump in there. But I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Hope this was useful. If it was, share it with friends, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.